All right. So are you ready to get into it? Because today we're going deep on green cities,
Sounds good to me.
but not just like the concept.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about tools and resources that are out there for making it happen.
Yeah, I love it.
So if you're dreaming of sustainable cities,
Mm-hmm.
think of this deep dive as your like little cheat sheet for actually making those dreams a reality.
Yeah, you've got a great guide in Green Urban Futures to help with that.
Okay.
This handbook is like, it really gets down to the nitty-gritty
Right.
and offers like concrete steps to make cities genuinely greener.
Yeah. So it's not just theory. It's like, how do we actually do this?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so excited to get into this.
Right.
It's kind of like, you know how you would never bake a cake without a thermometer?
Right.
You need to be able to measure things right
Yeah,
to make sure they're on track.
of course.
Cities are the same way.
Yeah.
So that's where Green Urban Futures starts.
Hmm.
Assessment and monitoring tools.
Yeah, these are like the thermometers of the urban world.
Right, exactly.
It all begins with understanding what we need to be measuring.
Okay.
And Green Urban Futures dives into the sustainability indicators and metrics.
Mm-hmm.
So things like air quality,
Okay.
access to green spaces, energy consumption.
Mm-hmm.
All of these are like the vital signs of a city's health.
Yeah, I like the vital signs of a city.
Yeah.
All right, so we need to measure these things.
Right.
But how,
Yeah.
this is where I think it gets really cool.
Yeah.
They talk about geographic information systems,
Okay.
GIS.
BAS. Yeah.
Like, have you ever used GIS?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
It's like Google Maps, but way more powerful.
Yeah. Think of it this way.
Okay.
You can overlay maps of like income levels
Uh-huh.
with air pollution data
Wow.
and the location of green spaces.
Okay.
So GIS can show those like hidden connections that we don't normally see
Yeah.
and help policymakers see where the interventions are really needed.
So you're able to layer all these different types of data on top of each other and put relationships. That is super cool.
Yeah.
And then they also talk about remote sensing,
Yeah.
which I think of as satellite imagery, but it's obviously more than just pretty pictures.
Oh, for sure.
Ground space.
It's about being able to track those changes over time.
Right.
So imagine a map of a city
Okay.
and it changes color based on pollution levels.
Wow.
So you can literally see the health of a city changing.
Yeah.
That's the power of remote sensing.
So it's like you take pictures at different points in time
Mm-hmm.
and you can analyze how things have changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
But here's what I think is really exciting.
Okay.
It's not just scientists and policymakers doing this measuring.
Right.
Green Urban Futures
Mm-hmm.
highlights something called participatory mapping and citizen science.
Yeah, and that's where you come in.
Okay.
Have you ever used like an app to report a pothole
Sure.
that is citizen science in action?
Interesting.
And in Berlin,
Yeah.
they are actually using citizen-reported sightings
Okay.
to track biodiversity.
Wow.
And it has led to discovering new species.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
New species?
just from people walking around reporting what they see.
That's incredible.
It's pretty amazing.
Citizen science is like having thousands of extra pairs of eyes
Mm-hmm.
on the ground,
Yeah,
contributing to a bigger picture.
exactly. A total game changer for urban sustainability.
I love that.
Of course, there are also more formal tools
Mhm.
like environmental impact assessments, EIAs,
Right.
and these are super key
Uh-huh.
when cities are making big decisions,
Like what?
like whether to build a new highway or a park.
Okay, so it's like you're thinking about the impact of that decision before you do it.
Yeah, EIAs help to weigh the potential costs and benefits beforehand.
So it's like a reality check.
Yeah, exactly.
Making sure that we're considering the environment before we just bulldoze ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. But I have to ask, sometimes it feels like those assessments are just a formality.
Right.
How do we make sure they actually lead to better choices?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And Green Urban Futures really emphasizes that EIAs shouldn't just be a rubber stamp.
Okay.
They need to be rigorous and transparent
Right.
and genuinely consider all the alternatives.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not really considering the alternatives, what's the point?
Exactly.
So I think that's a really important thing to remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got all these ways to measure and assess
Right.
a city's sustainability.
Yeah.
But the next question is, how do we actually improve things?
That's where the second part of this handbook comes in.
Okay.
Guidelines for Sustainable Urban Planning.
All right.
And this provides a roadmap like a step-by-step guide
Love it.
to move from assessment to action.
Okay, so it's not just like we've measured it now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here are the steps you can take to actually improve.
Exactly.
And this isn't just vague advice, right?
No, it gets into the nitty-gritty, like even offering specific design and maintenance guidelines
Okay.
for green infrastructure.
So like, for example,
It's not just about like randomly planting trees.
right.
The handbook covers everything from choosing the right species for your local climate
Okay.
to making sure that green roofs are properly maintained
Right.
and they don't become a burden.
So like you're thinking about the long-term sustainability
yeah, the long-term picture.
of that infrastructure.
Exactly.
I love that level of detail.
Yeah.
It shows that they've really thought this through.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that really stands out to me is the emphasis on integrated planning.
Ah, yes, this is the silo problem.
Right.
So Green Urban Futures stresses that the different city departments,
Okay.
like transportation parks, waste management,
Uh-huh.
they need to work together.
Right.
They can't be in isolation.
Yeah, because imagine trying to create bike lanes without talking to the people who are in charge of traffic lights.
Exactly. Chaos.
Right. It would be a mess.
Yeah,
So it's about connecting the dots
absolutely.
between all these different departments
Yeah.
and making sure that they're working together.
And that integration needs to go beyond just the city departments.
Okay, so who else?
We need to involve the community.
Okay, yeah. Community engagement. I like that.
Green Urban Futures is very big on this.
Good.
And it goes beyond just holding a town hall meeting
Right.
and calling it a day,
Okay, so like what would be an example?
like participatory budgeting.
What's that?
So residents can directly decide how to spend a portion of the city's budget
Wow.
on green initiatives.
So they have a say in what actually gets funded.
Yeah, imagine having a say in where those new bike paths go
That would be amazing.
or the community gardens.
Yeah, I love that.
It's all about giving people ownership over their neighborhoods.
Right, so it's not top down. It's like a grassroots
Exactly.
coming from the community.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And it's not just about those big decisions like budgeting. The handbook also encourages things like community design workshops,
Yeah.
where residents can work with planners and architects
Okay.
to help shape the look and feel of their green spaces.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you can be more hands-on
Yeah,
in the actual design.
exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, it's about fostering a sense of responsibility
Mm-hmm.
for creating a more sustainable city.
And I think when people feel like they're a part of the process,
Yes,
they're more likely to be invested in the outcome.
absolutely.
And that's really what we need, right?
Totally.
We need people to feel invested
Yeah.
in making their cities more sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So this is giving me so many ideas.
I love it.
I'm already thinking about ways that I can get involved in my own city's planning process.
Awesome.
This has been really inspiring.
I'm glad.
All right, well,
Yeah. And speaking of making things happen, the handbook also dives into some like innovative financing and incentive programs.
okay. So how do we pay for all this?
Yeah, exactly. Like how do we make those sustainable choices more appealing, both for individuals and for the city as a whole?
Okay, so you're saying it's not just about telling people to do the right thing.
Right.
It's about making it easier for them to actually do it.
Exactly. Like creating those incentives.
I like that approach.
Yeah, it's
You-
about finding that win-win situation
Right.
where sustainability aligns with economic viability and community well-being.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. But one thing I've always wondered about is community engagement.
Yeah.
Like, how do you actually get people excited about these projects
Mm-hmm.
and make them feel like they're a part of the solution?
Right. Green Urban Futures is very big on this.
Good.
And it goes beyond just like, holding a town hall meeting and calling it a day.
Right, right.
They talk about things like participatory budgeting.
Okay, what is that?
So residents get to directly decide how to spend a portion of the city's budget
Wow.
on green initiatives.
So they have a say in where the money goes.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine having a say in where those new bike paths go or the community gardens.
That would be amazing.
Right. It's all about giving people ownership over their neighborhoods.
Right. So it's not just like this top-down approach.
It's
It's like coming from the community.
Grassroots.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And it's not just about those big decisions like budgeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Handbook also encourages things like community design workshops
Uh-huh.
where residents can collaborate with planners and architects.
Oh, wow. So they're hands-on.
Yeah, exactly. Like helping to shape the look and feel of their green spaces.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that. So instead of just like complaining about what the city is doing,
Right.
you can actually be a part of it.
Exactly. Roll up your sleeves,
Yeah.
be part of the solution.
Yeah. And, I think when people feel like they're a part of the process, they're more likely to be invested in the outcome.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need people to feel invested in making their cities more sustainable. Totally. And, one thing that really struck me is how Green Urban Futures emphasizes the importance of equity in all of this.
Yeah, because it's easy to get caught up in all the excitement of new technologies and all these fancy designs. But if those benefits aren't reaching everyone, then what's the point?
Right, exactly. Like making sure that access to green spaces, clean air, and sustainable transportation, that it's not just a perk for wealthy neighborhoods.
Well, right. It's got to be for everybody.
Exactly. The handbook talks about using mapping tools to identify what they call green deserts.
What's a green desert?
So those are the areas that lack parks and trees.
Oh, okay.
And then you can prioritize investments in those communities.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So it's like evening the playing field a little bit.
Making sure that everyone benefits from a greener city.
Yeah. And, it's about recognizing that those communities that are most impacted by environmental problems often have the least resources to address them.
And Green Urban Futures really challenges cities to be proactive in addressing those inequalities and making sure that those sustainability initiatives truly benefit everyone.
This is making me think about all the assumptions we make about who cares about sustainability. Like, maybe it's not just this luxury issue for people with time and money to spare.
Right.
Maybe it's something that resonates with everyone.
I think you're right.
Regardless of their background or income level.
I think when we frame sustainability as something that improves the quality of life for everyone, cleaner air, safer streets, more vibrant communities, it becomes much more inclusive and compelling.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking about all these great ideas, but how do we measure the impact?
Yeah.
Like, how do we know if they're actually making a difference?
Right. You're hitting on a crucial point.
Yeah.
Green Urban Futures doesn't just stop at implementation.
Okay.
It stresses that ongoing monitoring and evaluation is super important.
Okay, so it's like you can't just plant a tree and walk away.
Exactly.
You have to come back and see how it's growing.
Right.
Make sure it's doing okay.
See if you need to make any adjustments.
Yeah, okay.
So they talk about setting clear goals and targets, tracking progress over time, and using data to inform decision-making. And this is where those assessment tools we talked about earlier come back into play.
Okay.
They're not just for that initial diagnosis. They're for the ongoing checkups to make sure that the city is on track toward its sustainability goals.
So it's like this giant feedback loop.
Yeah.
You assess, you plan, you implement, you monitor, and then you adjust based on what you learn.
Exactly. And that loop doesn't just involve experts and policymakers.
Okay, who else?
Green Urban Futures encourages cities to make that data public.
Okay.
So residents can see how their city is performing.
Okay.
Yeah, and hold their leaders accountable.
Imagine having a sustainability dashboard for your city.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Maybe like a Fitbit for the urban environment.
You could see how your city is doing on air quality, green space coverage, energy consumption, all in real time.
Oh, wow.
It would completely change the way we think about our cities and our role in making them more sustainable.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone from assessment tools to planning guidelines to financing models to community engagement to monitoring and evaluation.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, but in a good way.
I know, it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But Green Urban Futures is, it's a dense read.
Okay.
But it's packed with so much valuable information and inspiration, and we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah, and what I'm realizing is that building greener cities isn't just about any one solution or technology.
Right.
It's like a shift in mindset.
Yeah.
It's a willingness to experiment and a commitment to collaboration.
And it's about recognizing that we're all in this together, from policymakers to urban planners to everyday citizens.
Yeah.
We all have a role to play in shaping a more sustainable future for our cities.
Okay, so now that we've kind of laid the groundwork with all these tools and guidelines and ideas, let's get into some specific examples.
Okay, yeah. I'm excited for this.
Me too.
Okay.
Because it's one thing to talk about, concepts and frameworks.
Right.
But seeing those in action is a whole other level.
Exactly. And that's where the case studies in Green Urban Futures really come alive.
Yeah, they take all the ideas we've been talking about and turn them into real world examples.
You get to peek behind the curtain and see how other cities are actually doing it.
Yeah. And it's not just like a highlight reel of success stories either, right?
No.
They're honest about the bumps in the road, the lessons learned,
Absolutely.
the things that didn't quite work out as planned.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so valuable. It's so easy to get, kind of starry-eyed about sustainability.
Right.
But these case studies offer a dose of reality.
Yeah.
Showing that it's an ongoing process.
Right. This is a journey.
Yeah.
Not a destination. One case study that really stood out to me was Curitiba, Brazil.
Oh, yeah. Curitiba.
Have you heard of Curitiba?
Oh, yeah. They've been doing amazing things.
They've been pioneers in sustainable transportation for decades.
Yeah, their bus rapid transit system is incredible.
Yeah, it's like they created a network of arteries pumping people through the city.
Yeah, efficiently, affordably.
I love that.
It's a great example of how investing in public transportation can completely transform a city.
Yeah, and it's not just about the buses themselves.
Right.
They've integrated the transportation system with green spaces.
Exactly. They have all these linear parks along the bus corridors.
So it's not just about getting people from point A to point B. It's about making that journey enjoyable.
Right.
And connected to nature.
And beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, another one that I thought was really cool was Freiburg, Germany.
Freiburg.
What do you know about Freiburg?
They are amazing.
They've woven solar panels and green roofs into the fabric of the city.
Yeah, they're like the poster child for green building.
It's incredible. And they're proving that sustainability can be both functional and beautiful.
Absolutely.
But what I think is really fascinating is that their approach goes beyond just individual buildings.
Right.
They've created this whole solar district that generates more energy than it consumes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a testament to their long-term vision and commitment to renewable energy.
Okay, but let's be real. Not every city has the luxury of starting from scratch.
Right.
Like Freiburg.
Like a lot of cities are dealing with existing infrastructure and ingrained habits.
Yeah. What about like New York City?
Yeah.
Can a dense, sprawling metropolis like that truly become sustainable?
Well, Green Urban Futures tackles this head-on with the case study on New York's High Line.
Oh, the High Line.
Yeah.
I love the High Line.
They've transformed this abandoned elevated railway into a vibrant green space, proving that even in the most concrete-laden environments, nature can find a way.
And it's such a cool example of adaptive reuse.
Yeah.
You're taking something that was once a symbol of industrial decline and turning it into this iconic park.
And it's not just a green oasis.
Right.
It's also been a catalyst for neighborhood revitalization.
Yeah, it's spurred so much economic growth.
And it's a reminder that sustainability isn't just about environmental benefits.
Yeah.
It's about creating places where people actually want to live and work and play.
Yeah, love that.
And that brings us to another fascinating case study.
Okay, what is it?
Singapore.
Singapore.
Yeah.
Okay.
This city-state has become like a global leader.
In what?
In integrating smart technologies and green infrastructure.
Oh, wow.
Into its urban fabric.
So Singapore is like that futuristic city we see in sci-fi movies.
Right.
It's got vertical gardens, sensor-driven traffic systems, rainwater harvesting.
Yeah, they've really embraced innovation and technology to address their challenges of limited space and resources.
Yeah, and they've done it in a way that's both efficient and beautiful.
Yes. Think Gardens by the Bay.
Oh, yeah?
It's like something out of Avatar.
It's incredible.
So we've seen these examples from, Brazil, Germany, the U.S., Singapore.
Yeah.
What's striking to me is how diverse these approaches are.
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Yeah, context matters.
Green Urban Futures really drives home that point.
Yeah.
Like, what works in Curitiba might not work in Copenhagen.
Right. Every city has its own unique history and culture and political landscape.
Exactly, and its own set of environmental challenges.
So it's about taking those core principles of sustainability, like integration, equity, resilience, and figuring out how they can be applied in those different settings.
And that's where the role of local knowledge and community engagement is so important.
Yeah.
Green Urban Futures really emphasizes that.
So like think globally, act locally.
Exactly. We can learn from these global examples, but ultimately the solutions have to be homegrown.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and that's what makes this whole journey so exciting. It's not about following some blueprint. It's about experimenting, adapting, and figuring out what works best for your city.
This whole deep dive has really opened my eyes to the possibilities out there. It's given me so much hope that we can create cities that are not just sustainable, but also vibrant and equitable and truly livable.
And that's the ultimate goal, right? It's not just about saving the planet. It's about creating a better future for ourselves and for generations to come.
All right. So to all of our listeners out there, remember, you don't have to be an urban planner or a policymaker to make a difference.
Right.
Start by looking at your own city. with fresh eyes. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? How can you be a part of the solution?
Green Urban Futures is a great place to start.
Yeah.
But keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing for those green urban dreams.
The future of our cities is in our hands.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope it's inspired you to take action.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring.